To help us all practice social distancing, your Uber Eats order can be left at the door. Just choose the Leave at Door option at checkout for a no-contact delivery. You can even add special instructions like Leave in my lobby. This can help protect yourself and your delivery person while flattening the curve. Delivery people are working extra hard right now doing critical work to support your community. Please show your appreciation with a tip, as a little kindness can go a long way. Try the Leave at Door option today with any order on Uber Eats. To help us all practice social distancing, your Uber Eats order can be left at the door. Just choose the Leave at Door option at checkout for a no-contact delivery. You can even add special instructions like Leave in my lobby. Try the Leave at Door option today with any order on Uber Eats.
Hey there, this is Jim the Keys bartender coming to you from Key Largo. I'm here with Steve of Key Largo Comet. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Yep, and as we said previously on the last show we did, Steve, I can actually look over towards your house now. They're clearing the property in between us. So if I walked over 50 feet, I'm actually right outside now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've been listening to those tree cutters for 2 days now.
Oh, yeah. That's the property across the street. It's amazing that they're able to do that in this time.
I know.
There's construction people going down here and doing that. They're just moving ahead with that. Who knows how it's going to be down here after that,
Right.
Yeah. So what the hell? I mean, I would probably conserve my cash right now and put things on a pause. But there's other people. I met some guys down here that are having work done, construction, building houses and stuff. I mean, once it's started already, you got to really finish it.
Yeah, I mean, is that considered essential?
I don't know. They do have the roadblocks, and people were voicing some dissent on having the construction workers come from the mainland down here.
Yeah.
But people always have something to complain about with that. But today I wanted to call this one Witch Doctors. You could call it WITCH or WHICH.
Okay.
Yeah, either one, which depending on which doctor you're talking to. But my daughter's doing home. You're working from home.
Yeah.
Right? And you had a big project this week, right?
Yeah, we had a big project that took up a few days, but I got that behind me, so we're looking good. Working from home is, it's usually what I do anyway, so it's not too big of a deal for me.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, this is Sky does like 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes of online class with a teacher and her class, and then she does a couple hours of homework. And we were working on her science project, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I know it's kind of dark, but they're doing the coronavirus. They're building their science class around the coronavirus.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. So what they're some of the questions we were talking about. It was empirical evidence, quantitative data versus qualitative data, and she said, so there was a whole bunch of questions on how you would pose these things, and one of the questions was, what are some of the empirical how would you explain giving two examples? And one was, I had thought that UV light was that killed the virus.
Right.
That's not the case.
It's not the case, right?
No, because it has to be like super intense, like it would be on the surface of Mercury or something like that. It was super intense UV radiation. Nothing that
Yeah.
we experience. Isn't that crazy? It doesn't really have much an effect on it. I was helping her do her homework, and we were looking into it, and it said, "Oh, well, I found out something," and I don't want to. I mean, I did a whole show the other day where I wouldn't even mention. Did I talk to you about that last week?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, I did a whole show that where I didn't even mention the coronavirus, but.
Right.
Since she had that homework, and I figure today's a big day in Florida because they're doing the stay-at-home order. And I'll ask you what that means to you. But some of the things before we get to it, the governor of Georgia. Now, if you're a governor of a state, right? You figure you'd have to have. You'd expect them to have the intelligence of someone that may have graduated or has an associate's degree, maybe, right?
I mean, you would think so. You would hope so.
Yeah. Well, this guy gets up and he says, "Well, I just learned in the last 24 hours, that someone could have the coronavirus and not show any symptoms." Are you fucking kidding me? You're the governor. I mean, Georgia is not a small state.
Right.
I mean, if you're, no insult to people in Alaska or anything like that. If you're in Alaska, you may not have a science advisor like that. They may be from the petroleum industry or something. But you figured you would know that. What the fuck? I mean, I knew that. I knew there were people down here that were asymptomatic. I knew that for months.
Sure.
It's always the case with those things that you could be asymptomatic before you don't automatically. It's not like Ebola. You get it, and then an hour later you're sick. You know, and then there are people going to say they're going to defend him and say, "Well, this guy's." I mean, fucking. It's getting to bullshit excuses right now.
Oh yeah, big time.
And There are finally, what they say, 96% of the people in the United States are under some type of quarantine or stay at home or, something crazy like that. And there's essential businesses, and you brought that up. And that's food service, healthcare, first responders, essential industries like our agriculture, retail, certain retail, like obviously drugstores and things like that. But there's a whole bunch of them. You got to rethink some of those, right?
Yeah.
There's what's an essential service now?
Restaurant takeout considered essential?
Well, some people don't, I guess some people don't cook. They don't eat. You won't eat. They don't,
Yeah, I think it is.
And I don't know. Or maybe some people, what if you're living in a hotel, right? You're a first responder or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have a kitchen. I mean, it is a service for some places. They're not, after a certain, the market will keep that down. But a lot of things, people aren't really sure of. They just came out today, and it may be surprising. Well, it's all on the news. I'm not going to repeat what the news has to say. That it could be, I think it's called, the virus could be dispersed as an aerosol almost, meaning through talking and breathing.
Yes, I saw that.
So if you're just standing next to somebody, so that just changes the, that's a way we're going to, when you go to the store and things like that. Now they're considering whether everyone should be wearing a mask when they're out.
Oh, yeah.
But even if it's everyone's wearing a mask, if you're not wearing one of what do they call them, an N490 or whatever the the nomenclature is for it, because I guess it has to do with the size of the particulate that can get through it. But if it's breathing and talking, then it's very extremely small. So, but they also talk about, the level of infection you get, the amount of virus you get is how whether you're asymptomatic or not. If you get a heavy dose.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I heard. I mean that. But then again, like I said, the witch doctor comment. Who are you taking for? So, I mean, the common sense thing would be to pull back and try to get as little interaction as possible. And that'll bring me to some of the exempt places like this. I mean, like you said, this Saturday, this governor of ours, when he's a nitwit, he says he had to consult with Trump.
Yeah.
Right. You had to consult.
Scary.
That's your authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your authority. So, and he says,
or
I'm
maybe
going to exempt the churches.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to get this all out of our system right now. They're going to exempt the churches, right? There was some church. They had a choir practice, and right at the beginning of the social distancing thing that came out, they, they stopped having services and things like that, so they decided to have choir practice stuff. And it's a big choir, and I think in excess of 60 people showed up, and 41 of them contracted the virus, and several of them died.
Oh my God! I mean, how stupid are you?
And then I just saw a story of the town of Albany, Georgia. There was two. This February, there were two before, there was any issue at all, really, in Georgia or down in the southeast here. They had two funerals, and now this small town in Georgia has 25% of the infections in Georgia.
Oh my God!
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So that just shows you about like gathering in groups and stuff like that, and these exempt churches. Hey, you know what?
Right.
It's like I like to say, hey, you're going to go and do it. But what they're doing is they're going to go infect, and they're going to go out and infect other people too. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What? I mean, if they exempt them, they should exempt them from this. If you get sick, this is what you get. You get a box full of prayers, holy water, Bibles. Send them some relics, maybe some bones of some saints. There you go. There's your health care. It goes with how because if that happens now, after a stay-at-home order, and you decide to get they're arresting some of these guys because they're bringing them in and they're saying, "Don't worry, we're using disinfectant." It doesn't work.
It's crazy. I mean, what do you think about those boats that they're letting back in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, the horse is out of the gate as it is right now, right?
Yeah,
it's out. So, what are you going to do? I
mean, how dumb are you to get on a cruise ship right now?
Well, I think they were like one of those 3 week cruises, and it was pretty stupid. It was pretty stupid 3 weeks ago, and that was 3 weeks ago was the beginning of spring break.
March. Yeah, right. I mean,
and
everybody
when
knew
I heard people, I knew one of Sky's friends were taking people on a ski trip. Kids, middle school kids they were taking other kids, and I said, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" And they were healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I don't know what it was. This is a combination. They're not stupid people. It's radical denial.
Right.
It's radical denial what's going on, and it's kind of like saying in the beginning it goes, it's going to be gone by April, or last week they say, Easter we're going to be open for business, and like that changed in a couple days. There were like a couple doctors, you don't quite understand, that's not going to happen. They're saying to him, do you understand what we're saying to you right now? Do you know what you're saying? That you can't do that. If you do that, there's going to be 1 million people dead. You have to explain. It's like a 5-year-old. You can't put that in your mouth, Timmy.
It's unbelievable.
That's dog poop. Don't put that in your mouth.
The level of ignorance is just...
Yeah. Well, I think maybe... unless you want to talk, I mean, the way it changed, you did a lot of work from home anyway. You did a lot of telecommuting anyway, a lot of times, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so you were accustomed to it.
I am. Yeah.
So it wasn't a huge,
No, not a big adjustment for me.
No. Well.
Not at all.
I mean. Maybe if we were like 15 years in the future or something like that, if I was like operating a robot bartender from like a virtual thing, I could come in and
that'd be cool.
There was a movie by Bruce Willis. Remember that Bruce Willis movie where everyone there's a surrogate body and it's healthy and it's out there and everyone's operating their surrogate body, living in the world, but then and the rest of them are laying in this catatonic state, operating it.
Yeah, I do kind of remember that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, I wouldn't. I'm not saying, oh God, it's going to sound cocky, but you and I, that wouldn't like be a big advantage for us. I don't think we'd be in that much better of. I'd be younger. I'd probably be 25 years younger. Actually, I'd rather be the shape I was 10 years ago and 25 years younger, not the shape I was when I was 25 years younger, because I wasn't in that great a shape.
Right.
But if we're not that far along with automation yet, where we could just send the robots out to do things yet. And
I want a robot Jim to give me my beer at the catch.
Okay, yeah, a robot, yeah. It's like, what was it, iRobot?
Yeah, iRobot.
iRobot, when he goes, you just stay at home, and then the robot comes in and walks through a disinfectant shower. Here's your stuff. That's it. You don't have to do. Hey, that's it. You can't go out. Okay, we got the robots. We're just a couple years away from that. You know that?
Probably.
Self-driving cars. Getting things, having a unit that would come out and deliver it up to the house. We're about 5 to 10 years away from it.
Probably.
Yeah. So, there was a news story about the alcohol sales are jumping. Right.
Oh, I saw that, like 60% or something.
Yeah. Yeah. This lady, they showed this lady. A YouTube video, the lady's pouring herself a 20-ounce Cosmopolitan. Holy fuck. I poured myself some big ass drinks when I was drinking, like a bottle. I didn't take the whole bottle. I realized we talk about me having a drinking problem. I never really drank from the bottle. But right. I pretty much should have drank from the bottle, because the bottle was for me. And why am I drinking? Why was I drinking from a glass? I think backwash. That's the way I was limiting backwash. That's it.
I got
you. Yeah. So, but nowadays they had this psychologist on there talking about it, and I said, man, if I had waited like 3 months, but then again, it would have significantly ate up some of my financial resources if I was still drinking. I think I drank the amount it cost for me to feed myself. And I eat more than half the food in the family. So, I may, and health-wise, it may have reduced my resistance to whatever. And anytime I get, I have allergies, so anything I start
Right.
coughing and stuff like that, I think I, I'm not a hypochondriac, but I'm kind of a hypochondriac. I don't know. How are you?
No, I'm not. I'm not a hypochondriac at all.
How about Lizzie?
A little bit, she is. Yeah.
Yes.
She's, not too bad though. Not, pretty normal.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
Mm,
because
no.
if you get a headache, or you get feeling warm, you start thinking, oh, you're fighting something. Like today, I swear to God, I went to one of my meetings in the morning, and halfway through the meeting, I started feeling, and it was less than 10 people. Well, now I committed.
Yeah.
I made in my head, I'm thinking, oh man, I can't go to these meetings because I'm thinking about this air, just talking, that 6 feet isn't working and anything like that. It's irresponsible for me to go.
Right.
And
How many
I just
people were there?
What? There was 9.
How many people are there?
9.
9. Are you guys sitting like 6 feet apart and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just someone coughs and you think, what the fuck? And
Okay.
a lot of the things in my, I guess it's fortunately for the program I'm in, a lot of it has to do. One of the big things, I don't know if you heard about it, is acceptance.
Right.
You ever hear of the principle of acceptance? It's going like
Yeah. Sure.
it happens with death, like the phases of death when when you go you do denial and all this other shit and bargaining, and then finally there's acceptance, right?
Right.
And with this thing here, what we're going through is like, okay, it's a coronavirus. We're going to have to do it, and you can bitch about like, well, I'm not making any money. How am I going to make it to the end? Where am I going to get the resources? How am I going to get food? Who's going to get ill? If someone gets ill, who's going to take care of us? Where do we have to go? Blah, 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 blah. All these things. And you just say, accept whatever happens. You can't control it.
Right.
You can only control the things you can control, which is like eating, social distancing, doing what we're doing instead of like a knucklehead. If I was a knucklehead, I'd say, hey, we could do it from your place, and then we do it 6 feet apart, 8 feet apart, and I get. But then again, and then you have to concede to that and stuff like that. But acceptance is, hey, we can do this. I'm already set up. We're not harming anything doing it this way. But now there's all sorts of other things you got to deal with too when you go to the supermarket,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when someone's standing next to you, and then the people are in their own little world. Some people wearing masks, some people wearing gloves, and some people not wearing gloves. I mean, if you're wearing the weird thing about gloves are great, right? But if you wear gloves and touch an infected surface and touch your face, it's done.
Right.
People don't really realize that. If you touch an infected surface with your hand and then wash your hands very well, then you're done. It's all
Right.
there's all sorts of things, and then you got a mask, and you take the mask and you pull it down. You got your gloves that touched everything. You pull down your mask and talk to someone.
You're constantly cross-contaminating. I mean, just because you have a glove on, that's just keeping the virus off your hands.
Yeah.
You're still spreading the virus around everywhere,
Yeah. Your epidermis is a great protector of from infection a lot of times.
Yeah.
And wearing gloves and a mask and stuff like that doesn't mean you're perfectly. And then you got people come up and they're wearing a mask and they say hello to you, and you go like this. Well, the great thing is you don't have to. They got to tell you who they are now. You better say, I don't know. You're wearing. I can't even. I can't even tell if you're a married friend of mine or something like that. Or, if you're four-fingered Ralph, you're wearing a glove. I can't tell if that finger's missing. I can't see your mask.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm pretty much, I'm going to save the mask for the professionals until they have enough out there. And then I'll just use a handkerchief, I guess, maybe. I'll feel like a bandit,
Yeah.
Yeah, you just see the eyes. You got the hood down, and you got the mask. I mean,
it's funny you're talking about this. My mom, lives up the street, and she rode a bike over with a whole bunch of homemade masks for us today.
Oh, where'd she make the mask out of?
She made it out of some sort of thick cloth. I got it right here. It's almost like a denim. They're really nice. They're really well made.
Oh, denim? They're like designer mask.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to send me a picture of them. Maybe we'll post them on the.
I will.
Text me a picture. I'll post it on with the show. Maybe I'll change.
Okay,
I have a picture of a lovely sunset. Maybe we'll put that. If you send that to her, I'll just change the picture out and put your mother's homemade mask on there.
Yeah,
you know what would be good? Oh God, how about this? Someone, if she came over and you said, "Wow, these are very soft cloth masks," and and oh, these are really nice. Oh, they're so comfortable. They don't chafe or anything like that. Where'd you get them from? Oh, they're from old underwear. They're using. People are using bras and all that. What?
Liz is here.
Hi.
Hi, Liz. Oh, she just come back from running?
What's that?
She just come back from running?
No, she's just been in the other room.
Oh. So.
Do you like the masks my mom made, Liz?
Yeah, I like them.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to distress those denims, are you? Because then it'll probably ruin it.
I told them the fabric's almost like a denim. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of a thick. I don't know. I'll send you a picture.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm saying don't distress the denims. You know how the people tear them? Because then it'll spoil the effect. There's pictures down here because this is a big diving town. There's a couple guys walking around. They got their scuba stuff on.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah, I think some people may be drinking a little too early in the day. But what is too early in the day if you're not going into work, right?
Oh, there's no such thing, right?
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock p.m. or a.m.?
A.m.
A.m., okay. There's, before we still got plenty of things right here. We got, we were talking about the lady, they were talking about people, they worry about people drinking too much.
Yeah.
Especially around their kids. Around their kids, and they're saying, but I mean, there's all, like I said, I'm not a prohibitionist. I'm not trying to get people to stop drinking, but there is a thing that if you do too much, it could hurt you physically. It could make you more susceptible to an infection, right?
Right.
And then there's the psychological thing where it could affect your. It's already kind of a stressful situation. People are anxious and stuff like that, and alcohol is a depressant, so you got to be careful with that. And
that's true.
Yeah, and then you're by yourself a lot of times.
Some people.
Yeah, no, that's what they're the main thing. There's people that are by themselves or not interact with their regular support group. But that's where Zoom comes in. Zoom.
Sure.
Yeah, I downloaded that to get to go to one. I'm going to try later on tonight to go to one of those meetings at 8 o'clock. And I'll see how it works out. I went to one where it's an open one, and there was these two young. It was an international one. There's some dude from Africa. He's sitting there giving the thumbs down. I'm watching him, and there's two other young guys. One guy looks like he's from Eastern Europe, and this other guy is from I don't know where he's from, but they're wearing some weird headgear and headphones and stuff, and they're talking about having 5 pans of heroin and how many needle marks he has in his arms and stuff like that. So, because Zoom had a little thing on Tuesday where people were trolling the AA meetings.
Well, yeah, right.
The people were going in there and busting their balls and stuff like that. And then he said the meetings would break up. I mean, it kind of sucks if you're sharing and stuff like that, and then someone calls in.
Yeah.
But alcohol is so good. I mean, you'd have to be really. You'd have to be really kind of an advanced person to be able to ignore those distractions.
Right.
But I guess after a while, when people start doing it, they'll be just saying, "Oh, well, that's what happens every so often." It's just like on some of those chat rooms when you had originally when they started coming out, and then you had some guy come in there and start busting balls. Oh, was it Leroy Jenkins? Was it Leroy Jenkins? Remember that? You never saw that YouTube one? The guy who was playing the World of Warcraft.
It sounds familiar.
It's this guy. It's a great YouTube video. It's when these gamers are waiting outside this in the virtual cave, and they're ready to go in.
Yeah.
And they're ready to attack. Yeah. And one guy is giving all the strategy, and he's telling you, okay, this guy's really tough in here, so you're going to throw some fireballs. You're going to go and do this. You're going to do that. And then one guy goes, "Fuck this shit." And he jumps in there and he goes, "Leroy Jenkins," or something like that. And he jumps in the middle of it and they all get destroyed. And you just hear one of the guys go, "God damn it, Leroy." Oh. And then, so that was funny. That was a legitimate one. So, but then people started crashing whenever they would just do that. Like if they can join an online gaming thing, they'd wait for like a big situation and they just go and say that would be their, and I don't know if it's Leroy, it's something Jenkins. It was a white kid, pretty funny. Yeah. It was on Tosh.0, so that was his 15 minutes of fame, which I didn't even have that, so I'm kind of jealous of that guy. So the roadblocks are still going. And as of this morning, they had turned away 1,800 cars.
Yeah, you think they're going to keep it up?
I mean, what the fuck are they going to come down for now? What is there down here to do?
There's nothing.
There's
true.
Nothing to do. There's no boats to go out on and something like that. I mean,
idiots will still try to come down here, though.
Yeah, I know, but then they're violating a stay-at-home order, right?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, then...
Now at this point, when someone says, "What are you doing down here?" "Oh, it just came..." "Oh, you're violating stay-at-home order," and you don't even have to do that. Right. So
yeah.
That would be... Oh, and another thing, before you get a visceral response on this one, I want to set the table. There's a couple people I met from New York, and they're getting treated kind of shabbily down here. They've been down here for months.
Okay.
From prior to they were seasonal, they were snowbirds. And they have cars that say, they come down here every year, they rent for 3 months. And they came down here before it was a thing. Now, obviously, we know it started in September in China and stuff like that, and then it was building up slowly there. But it wasn't really a thing until,
early March.
Well, in February we started hearing on West Coast, Washington State,
right,
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to take heart from something, look at Washington State. Washington State, you think would be way up at the top. Washington State is like number 10 in infections, which not so bad. They're on the other side of it. And California, I don't know what the hell's going on with California. Either they're not testing or they got really good control over it, because California is not on the top, and California is huge.
Right.
So either they're not testing enough or not. But these people from New York, they're getting treated like shit out there. People see their license plates, and people are, What the fuck? It's like, you ever seen The Grapes of Wrath? Remember the movie The Grapes of Wrath?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, well, these people, when it takes place during the Oklahoma Dust Bowl era, and all these poor tenant farmers, like, hundreds of thousands of them, had to leave their homes and try to go someplace else because Oklahoma, during the Depression, at one year was hit by these horrible dust storms, and it destroyed all the crops, removed all the topsoil, destroyed their agriculture, right? So all these people that were subsistence farmers had to get up and leave. And whenever these people see these people from Oklahoma come by, they think they were saying, look at these, these scumbags, blah, blah, blah. They're bringing disease. They're poor. They don't have any money. They're just going to try to, and New Yorkers are being treated like them. And yeah, I realize that New York has all this shit, but they're also, in a couple weeks, when New York has, when theirs starts peaking and going down, we're going to still be going up.
That's right.
And then people are going to say, well, you're the fuck from Florida then. When Florida people try to get out of here. So be careful how you treat somebody.
That's true.
I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why the infection started up there, or whether they started locating them up there. They started testing earlier, or because New York City is an epicenter for business and trade and travel. But so is South Florida, right? Orlando and Miami.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be surprised if we're worse than New York here pretty quick.
Who knows? And then our dumb as fuck governor decides tonight is the night.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I realize it's hard to tell 21 million people, hey, listen, you're going to trust me. Watch this. We'll do this. To display leadership, though, if you had a half a brain a week and a half ago and saw the way this was heading, I mean, the damage is done already. But if you make, at least you make the effort. You make the effort.
But you know why he waited so long? It's because he's Trump's boy, and he doesn't want to piss off Trump.
For some reason, I think it goes even deeper than that. I think it's really I think it's a level of stupidity that I really, and a weak moral courage.
Yeah,
a weakness of moral courage. There was, I think it's both. And people say, well, and then people fall back at, you don't know that, you didn't know that. And these people, remember when they're saying shit all the time. They're being militantly stupid. Why are you closing that place? Why are you closing this place? Well, don't you fucking know how it works? Can't you see what's happening in Italy, in Spain, and all that? Yeah. So, Italy saw a drop today. I think they saw a drop in their death, and that they're saying that may be a harbinger of things to come for them. But once they start dropping, and they're suggesting that maybe China's not telling the whole story over there. Who knows?
Right.
So we may find out there. But the big thing out of this is, holy shit, I saw Netflix and Hulu and all those places. I think when people get out of this, maybe there is either these companies going to make a ton of money, or they're going to go broke.
Right.
You know why?
Because people aren't going to be stuck in the house anymore.
They're going to be fucking tired of it, and there'll be no more content for them to watch for like 6 months. They'll say, like, they watched everything. They're going to, I watched everything. People used to bust my balls that I didn't watch Breaking Bad. Yeah. And I said, well, I didn't want to watch Breaking Bad. I said, well, what if I break my leg or something like that? What am I going to watch when I'm stuck at home? There you go.
Sure.
Here you go. I got
Are you
Breaking
watching
Bad.
it now?
I got Ozarks. I got like 2 seasons of Ozarks, which, fuck, that's only like 4 or 5 days. I'm going to be watching some stupid shit. I mean, the Tiger. Did you watch any of the Tiger King?
I haven't yet. Have you?
Yeah. It's bad. Oh my! It's. I don't even know what to say if it's well made, but
Yeah.
you'll see. It's amazing the way they do it, because at first in the beginning they get the worst guy, right?
Yeah.
And then you have these other people, and they start. They just. I'm not going to give away. I'm not even going to give away 10% of it. Okay, but they start doing this thing about people that collect exotic animals and all that stuff, and people say, "Oh, there's a weird group of people that collect exotic animals," and then this one guy says, "And the people that collect big cats are pieces of shit."
Yeah.
That's what the guy says.
Really?
Are pieces of shit, and you go, "Well, oh, maybe he just means this one guy, Joe Exotic, who the tiger."
Yeah.
So they describe this guy, and this guy he's like a gay crystal meth addict, right? Right?
Oh my
Gay.
God.
He's gay. He's super gay. I mean, that doesn't make him bad.
Okay.
Does not make him bad. He just happens to be gay,
Right.
and he's kind of like a hillbilly.
Right.
So it's hilarious,
Yeah.
and he does all this stuff, and he's into guns and all that stuff. And they start doing him, and they got these other people that talk about him, right? These other exotic owners. And then they start talking about their shit. And their shit is as bad. They just don't look on the surface as bad as he is, right?
Right.
And their shit is just as bad or even worse. It's incredible.
Right.
It's like they uncovered a soap opera of epic proportion. And people are addicted to it. They're addicted to it. I could only watch some of it because I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe people are fucking this bad."
Right.
You know? Because obviously, if they weren't that bad, they wouldn't make a documentary. They don't make documentaries of nice, sweet people,
About boring people. Yeah, right.
Yeah, everyday people. Well, they actually did one of them. Some doctor in New York, they did a documentary, how great a guy the guy was and stuff like that. No one fucking watched it. They didn't want to watch it. They want to see the guy that's married to 2 men and has a bunch, 1,800 tigers and shit like that. So
Yeah.
so it'll blow your mind. I didn't give, and I don't. You know what? I didn't even give away 5% of it.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that'll be
Watch it now.
If you need something to break, maybe people, if you haven't seen, and I'll say this to the listeners, if you haven't seen The Tiger King, maybe save it for right before you're ready to kill your family. Right before you think, hey, you know what? Maybe heroin wouldn't be a bad idea right now, right?
Yeah.
Turn on The Tiger King, and then you'll realize, you know what?
How good you have it?
I'm not that bad a person, yeah. Yeah, if you really ever feel bad about yourself. So, hey, listen, we got a couple minutes left. Why don't we do some promotion yourself? Let's talk about the Key Largo comics. I've seen you posting some stuff.
Yeah.
Have you getting any, I mean, are you getting a lot more, or you getting any more traffic or less traffic or more traffic? What do you got?
Funny you should say that. I just listed a bunch of comics here in the last couple days, and as we're sitting here, I've got a few bids firing off here for some of my books. So yeah, I mean, people are stuck at home, and I think they got nothing better to do than look for comics on eBay. So that's good for me.
Fuck, man, I swear to God, man, that was my thing when I was a kid. But it's funny, I was so DC.
Mm-hmm.
I was such a DC comic guy. I mean,
right.
I think Marvel was more nuanced, and I was a latecomer to reading. So I was.
Yeah, the DC was a little more like simplistic, Marvel got a little bit more, in depth with their stories and stuff, and their,
Yeah.
everything was interconnected. The world, all the stories kind of overlapped.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So, where can people get a hold of you? On Twitter, on Facebook, on?
Yeah. It's just Key Largo Comics, all one word, on eBay and on Twitter. And I'm on YouTube too. I do some videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Same thing. Key Largo Comics. You can check out. I go on there and I, review my latest purchases and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Hey, did you ever come across any of that guy? They based that movie on American Splendor. Harvey. Oh, what's his name? Harvey Pekar. Harvey Pekar.
No.
They made a comic book about him, and the guy that made Fritz the Cat. You heard of Fritz the Cat?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I forget that guy's name, but it was kind of like an underground kind of alternative comic scene, and Harvey Pekar they made a movie about him that Paul Giamatti
really?
was in. It was a big movie too.
I'll have to check it out. American
You should
Splendor?
check it out. It is about comics and somewhat, not the way necessarily you, but the guy did. That's where he became famous. Harvey Pekar,
Okay.
and I think he might still be alive. If this doesn't take him out here, that's kind of morbid.
Yeah.
Is there anybody you'd like to say hello to? Your mother? Oh, you did. We did say hello to your mother about making those masks. That's very nice to hers. She did that.
She's on top of it, man. She was, she's looking after everybody.
Yeah. I'm gonna make some designer mask out of my boxer briefs, and I'm gonna post them on the. I'm gonna give them away as gifts. I'll wash them first. Yeah. I'll wash them.
I don't think you can do that.
What? I bet some creep out there will buy them or take them. I don't necessarily know. Maybe buy them. Who knows? I'll tell you a story about this guy named Eddie Savitz in Philadelphia next time we're on the air. Eddie Savitz. Just remember that name. And
Eddie Savitz?
Savitz from Philadelphia. He had his 15 minutes of fame, but it was pretty creepy what he did.
Okay.
We'll cover it on the next show. I think you'll be intrigued.
I'm ready for it.
You ready
I'm
for
excited.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we can, if Lizzie wants to come out, we'll make it into a cocktail party for you guys. I'll be drinking my coffee, obviously, but okay.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna sign off. I'm gonna thank you, Steve.
All right, Jim.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and if you want to follow us on Facebook, Florida Keys Bartender, or on Twitter, Keys Bartender, or Florida Keys Bartender. I'm not quite sure about it, or Instagram. And I realize right now, and I learned this in the last year or two, just because you're following me on Facebook and Twitter or that doesn't mean you listen to the podcast. But if you do listen to the podcast and don't follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, that'd be nice if you do. And if you get the opportunity to leave a chance to leave a review, and I'd like to thank everyone for listening. We'll be back in a day or two. Bye.
Xfinity XFi is more than just fast. It's internet that gives you peace of mind security. Because if it's connected, it's protected. Yeah, even your robot vacuum. Can your internet do that? Learn more at xfinity.com/xfi. Xfinity XFi is more than just fast. It's internet that gives you peace of mind security. Because if it's connected, it's protected. Yeah, even your robot vacuum. Can your internet do that? Learn more at xfinity.com/xfi.